So let me introduce myself. I'm Ben Richard. I'll be your host for the evening. And as I was driving over here, I figured the first thing I should do as a host is probably let you guys know and kind of give you guys a little insight as to what's in store for you tonight. And without being too wordy, too long-winded, and ultimately taking way too much time, which I do all the time anyways, I'll use one word, and that one word is fun. That's what's in store for us tonight, and a lot of it actually. So Aquila is going to give us an amazing presentation, and I really do mean amazing. Subject title of the presentation being Divorce Your Career for a Better Life. And I don't know about you guys, but just the title alone has me hooked. It's very interesting. Divorce your career for a better life. So before we actually turn it over to Aquila, I just wanted just a few minutes to have a little bit of fun with you guys. And to start that off, I actually have a question. So by a show of hands, you guys can put your hands up for me so I can see. How many of us here tonight are married? Okay. So yeah, we have a pretty decent amount of married people in the crowd tonight. So how many of you have been married twice? I'm kidding. Don't. I actually think I saw a hand raised up, but just me being a little crazy. But you know, disregard that second question. But for everybody here that is married, and even for individuals that are not married, I did want to share with you that at times in a marriage, in a relationship, the couple reaches a rough patch. And usually, a lot of time it has to do with a loss of passion, interest, the fire that used to burn strongly and fiercely, quite frankly, sometimes is not there anymore. So what's interesting is that for couples that are in that situation, that actually go out and seek counsel from a marriage counselor, they always get the same counsel. And we actually have a marriage counselor with us here tonight, who's one of the sponsors as well, Sean. So he can probably attest to this, and Sean, keep me honest. But the answer that all these couples get is simple, is to date. Now, I'm looking around and I see some faces looking at me sideways, so let me explain. So the counsel here is not for them to date other people outside of the relationship. Right, Sean? That's not what clarification. So, yeah. So Sean will attest that's not the counsel. What they're actually being asked to do is to date each other again. And what's really nice is that for most couples, doing that will actually reignite and bring back that passion, that interest, that intensity, and that fire that was once there. So, keeping that in mind, do you think it's possible for you to do that in your career as well? So what should someone do if they're tired, truly unmotivated with their day-to-day job or career? What is there to do? Possibly also maybe they should date. And we're not talking about real dating once again, but possibly maybe you should approach your day-to-day job, your career, the same way that you were if you were dating it. And once again, I see some faces looking at me like, date? How in the world am I supposed to date my job or date my career? So I'm about to bring up the person who's going to answer that for us and actually answer a whole lot of other questions too, and provide us a bunch of information that will be useful for us, I would think, years after we leave here tonight. So I hope you guys are ready for fun, because we're going to have a lot of fun. I know you guys probably can't see this here, but we have a ton of gifts to give away. So we'll be having a raffle at the end of the event. So I hope that everybody did register, because that's how you received your raffle ticket. If you did not, and I'll be okay with this, and I'm sure Peter will be as well, is if you make sure before the end of the event to see Trina and Andrea to ensure that you are registered to make sure that you're able to participate in these wonderful gifts that I have here in front of you. So, without further delay, I am going to introduce our guest speaker, who's going to present to us Divorce Your Career for a Better Life, business life coach and founder of Belief LLC, Aquila Max.
I'm an inspirationalist. I prefer a business life coach because I want you to be intentional in your life as well as your business and making your business your life. I want to inspire growth in every aspect of your life, your career, your personal development, and then I'm also interested, as I was talking about, with time and life balance. I believe that, we have obviously moved away from slavery, and I would like to keep it that way. But when you think about your job, most of us don't think, sometimes we also do think we're enslaved to our job, but then some of us don't, because when we get a really hefty check to accompany that, well, I don't know that there's any amount of money that would be worth me being away from my children and not being able to spend time with my family and my friends and being able to impart into other people. And so anyhow, this presentation is to inspire personal confidence, personal development, as well as career development, and then life balance. Talking about dating your career. So he asked the question about how many people are dating or married actually. And we had a couple of, show of hands that people are married. But if you were in a relationship with your career, would it be considered abusive? Would you be ready to file a report? You know what I mean? Is it taking up too much time? You're leaving with black eyes and bags under your eyes. Okay, right? 12-hour shifts, not enough pay. Right? Salaried, and there's no such thing as overtime. But you still have to do the work. And so anyway, how do we get into a place where we can better appreciate our jobs, our careers? Some of us are stay-at-home moms. I remember I was a stay-at-home mom for 4 years. I think that was the hardest job I've actually ever done in my life. Having to, do everything, accounting, babysitting, house cleaning, a housekeeper, everything you had to do. And I was trying to get all of this stuff done in a certain amount of time. I wasn't really able to enjoy it. And when it was all over, I was really not happy about with the people that I was doing it for. Mom, you're the mother of the year, keep it. Anyhow, one of the things I want you all to do is I want you to give me permission. When you turn on your TV, you're giving your TV permission to speak into your life. When you turn on your radio, you're giving your radio permission to say something to you through song. When you open your apps and things like that, you're giving those things permission. One thing about coming to speak, even though you came here, and not necessarily mean you're open to receive what's being presented before you. So oftentimes when I meet with clients, I always say, listen, I don't force myself on anybody, and I'm willing to accept the fact that you may not even be ready to receive even though you're present. Because that doesn't mean you want to receive just because you're here. So people say, well, half the job is showing up. I need you to open up, not just show up. So I want to, by some applause, a raising of the hand, or some kind of a gesture, a nod, a wink, a blink, whatever you do, to let me know that you give me permission to speak into your life. Amen. Is that all right? Amen. Okay. I tell my clients that everybody is soil. Just listen, just keep it simple. You're all dirt. Not in a Everybody is soil, right? And imagine your body. Your body is your ground. And as tall as you are, and or short or whatever, your person is as much ground as you can cover. So when you think about everything you're hearing, it's a flower being planted, and after a while it's overwhelmed with everything that's been planting into you. Okay? So if you've had a very hard day, and you've got a good day somewhere along the line, you got a bunch of hard days, and you got basically more weeds than flowers, there's a lot of uprooting that needs to be done, right? So when we approach our careers, we kind of see it as something that we go into, we do our day-to-day. I'm good at what I do, I'm familiar with what I'm presenting. I was a tax accountant for 8 years. So, you can do these things like the back of your hand, but honest and truthfully, I know that there's oftentimes a manager challenging whether or not you're honestly giving your best because you've been doing it for so long. And so this actually came to me when you think about marriage. Sometimes we do need to reinvent the way we see the things in our life, whether it's our family, ourselves, our children. So I always also encourage people to, even when you look at yourself, don't look at yourself with yesterday's eyes. See yourself today with a new set of eyes, a new vision, so that you can realize yesterday I felt like a failure, but today don't look at you with the eyes that saw a failure. Give yourself an opportunity to see yourself new. So I want you to also give your career an opportunity to see yourself new as well. See, for you to give you the opportunity to see your career as new as well. So there are 3 benefits to dating your career. And I mentioned them, right? Personal development as well as confidence. So imagine we're going on a date. Everybody gets to be single for a moment, all over again right now in this moment, okay? And you're going on a date. How do you prepare? You want to make sure your hair is done. For the fellas, y'all make sure y'all got all y'all groomed up and nice and things like that, right? You put on your best clothes. You want to make sure that you got your lip gloss and everything on, ladies. And basically what you're doing is you're preparing and presenting yourself ready. So that when this person that you're meeting, when the person that you meet, they see you, this is the perspective you want them to have, the new. Right? Yeah. Not the pajamas, the rollers in the hair, the pajama pants that you've outgrown but you still wear because they're comfortable. Right? None of those things. You don't want them to see you. I would hear my grandmother say, I got to put my face on. You don't want to see them without your face. Right? All your makeup and everything like that. You're like, I want you to see me new. I don't want you to see me all, used and write it out. So, write it up. So, then what else do? We kind of prepare our speech. It was like, okay, hold on, me. I don't want to I don't want to use too much slang because anyone may think I'm not intelligent. It's the truth. We want to present ourselves in a way that makes us a qualified candidate. And in the same manner, right, we go into interviews like that, don't we? We don't just wear anything to an interview. We want to make sure we have our best dressed on. We go over our resume. Let me see, I got to remember what it is that I've been doing, because when they ask you a question, the last thing you want to do is be reading from the paper, right? So the reason why dating your career, first of all, talking about personal development. Oftentimes, do you realize how many opportunities are missed because we're not even aware of our gifts and skills anymore? We've been doing what we've been doing for so long, we forget other skills and they lay dormant. So then when opportunity presents itself to say, hey, here's a promotion, you're like, oh no, I'm a tax accountant, I can't apply for this manager position over in human resources because it doesn't seem to fit what I've been doing for so long. Well, when you're dating, again, every single day you come in, you're representing yourself, you're getting everything together, you're making sure your words are right and your grammar is correct, you remember what you're good at so you can constantly represent that. And in the same manner, we should approach our careers that way. That every single day, even though I've been doing this for 8 years, I want to represent myself as new and a valuable candidate. I want to stay close to my resume. I don't ever want the skills that I have to lay dormant to where if an opportunity then presents itself, I can see myself as qualified for that. I met a lady who was actually in human resources, and I was interviewing her as an opportunity. I was like, you know what, I'm thinking I may want to go into human resources. Now, what do you do? And she said, oh, well, I have a technical background. And I was like, well, how did you get in human resources? She stayed so close to her skill set that she was able to create an opportunity that they didn't know that they needed. Because she went in and she did not look at what they just listed as qualifications, but she had a conversation. She was dating. She had a conversation. She stayed close to what she was good at. So then she's like, okay, well, what is it that you guys are looking for? I'm interested in coming into the human resources department, and this is what I have to offer. And they were like, oh, well, that's great. I don't know if that will quite work out. Here's what it is that we need. And when she was listening to those needs, because she was well aware of her skill set, she was able to say, you know what, actually, you could use my skill. And they created a position for her. Like, that's a true story. True story. In American Express. True story. Which is the company that I came from. That is true story. And just going in there, and it really made me aware of the fact that I'm like, well, what would I be able to walk into and create a position doing?
Right.
But we really don't know. So when you think about, and then as well, when you think about being close to your skill sets, it keeps you confident. Because I know what I'm good at. A lot of the times when people hold their head down, or if I walk up to you and say, hi, my name is Aquila, it's nice to meet you. If I seem more confident and you're not aware of everything that you bring to the table, then you might shy away from me because you may think that I'm doing something more grand than you. And the truth of the matter is, you just need to remember that you're grand also. Remember everything, and I mean everything that you're good at. Like someone told me when I got to doing this, when I created the opportunity to speak life into people, wanting to see them grow in every area of their life, someone said, do you know, and she's in the room, you have the gift of gab. That you can do that as a job one day. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. We laughed, we chuckled it off, we just chuckled it off, and we moved on. And then continued on, and she repeated the same thing probably a few more times because my gabbing gift will not leave. But then it was like, how do I become intentional about using my gift in a manner that other people could see valuable, as well as me understand that there is value in my gift? So then I was like, well, I want to be an inspirationalist. I want to see people grow and develop and not just sit in a place where they're not maximizing their time, where they're not maximizing their life, where they're no longer enslaved to their careers, their jobs, or some of my clients have ministries. I don't want you to be enslaved to that either. You know, so, and I don't want you to be enslaved to motherhood to the point where you begin to like dislike your children, your family, or so, you know. That either. There's no box that says if I'm in this, this doesn't apply to me. It applies to everyone. So staying close to your gift builds self-confidence just by you simply being aware of what it is that you offer. And then when you're confident and you come and speak to me, then I can begin to find value in what it is that you present. I had a lady here that presented herself so confident. I was like, I want to buy everything that you're making. And I'm not kidding. She just presented her, and I almost wanted to go get a lab so I can do what she's doing, you know. But we'll just stay in the gift of gab. Science is not my thing. So our next thing is career development. Because you are aware of your gifts, now there are more opportunities that open up for you. You don't have to just stay in this one position. I mean, I look at so many people who transition all across corporate America, entrepreneurship, you know, and you would never think that you could see any connection. Well, you don't necessarily need to see the connection, you just need to find the opportunity with one of the skill sets that you bring. Like I was in a presentation once and I heard one of the VPs, well she was VIP, but I heard one of the VPs, she stated, you know, she said, hey, if you're good at bringing people together, speaking to people, you know, speaking in front of people, and she began to list all of these characteristics and nothing that said math or accounting, and she would say, you may be the ideal person for, you know, putting together the meeting spaces. And for some teams, this might be actually a requirement because some teams meet often. And I mean, just in that, I was like, well, those are all things that I would consider skills, but not anything that I would market. You know, how many skills do we have that we just don't market? Because we think that they're not as important. If you offer, say you offer the ability, like I had a client who, she said, you know, I do yoga, right? She's a yoga instructor. She comes in, she does groups, and then she does some, you know, one-on-one sessions, personal training. And then she said, but you know what I actually just started doing, which, you know, some people wouldn't have thought is common sense. She said, I began to utilize my yoga studio as a venue. It doesn't host a lot of people, but there are some small groups that would love to come in, and what she began to do was actually she started designing it to where it looks like an art gallery. So now she's intentionally setting up her yoga studio to be a venue. That's just finding opportunity. The focus of her business is not the venue. But if I'm hearing someone speaking and they said, hey, I need a space, I've got a couple of ladies I want to get together to do ladies' night, now she's got an opportunity to make some extra money. So what other talents do we not expound upon or build upon because we don't think that they're important according to what we're doing in our day-to-day? We have to date our career in order to find out. We have to go back to the resume, go back to the interview, go back to all of the beginning when you were selling yourself or what you're doing right now. Even if it's owning a business, every day I have to literally look at my business plan, look at what it is that I'm doing. How do I further expand my network? How do I continue to meet people and build people for them to see value in what it is that I offer? How do I make my relationships productive? I don't want to just know you and meet you, but I want to be able to impact your life in some way. So it's more than just, checking out at the counters right now. It's like, how are you feeling today? Oh, I'm not doing so well. Here's my card. But not just here's my card, because honest and truthfully, it doesn't come out that way. It'll actually start with giving a tidbit of what I do now. Well, I hope your day gets better. But I want to tell you that right now, that sweater you have on is to die for. Girls bringing out your eyes, and then they like, oh my God, you're wonderful. Now here's my card. What do? I inspire people to smile, to love their life, to enjoy their job. I was speaking to another person, and I was literally going through another grocery store, and they were serving, the people serving lines, and it was during Christmas holiday. And I said, I just want to thank you so much for all of your gratitude and your smile and your patience with every customer, and I apologize on behalf of the rude ones. And he was like, well, thank you. You're so nice. Here's my card. Because the reality is I'm really not trying to sell you, I want to build you. And I believe, honest and truthfully, that's another way that when we think about dating, even still, it's not just what I can get from you, it's what I'm trying to add to the other person. And even to the business, that's what they want to know. What can you bring to the table? How can you help the business grow? So whether it's your own business or whether it's, American Express, what do you do to build that company? So lastly, because remember, I've told you I believe in saving time. And for those who know me, I'm pretty long-winded. But what I've learned to do was to be concise so you can get the information you need and apply it. Not waste any time trying to figure out, okay, so what did she say? I really want you to get it. And this is what our sessions look like when I meet with people as well. I really want you to get the information that you need, and then we move forward, and then we can build somewhere else. We can keep adding bricks. I don't want to live in the mortar. I want us to keep adding bricks. So our last and final point is life balance. Now, for those people who are married, right? Could you imagine having two spouses? If you're dating, can you imagine having two of those? I had all kind of faces there. I was like, oh God. Oh God. If you're dating, even if you dated, it don't matter what you're doing now, but if you dated before, could you imagine having two of them? Then why do we have two spouses? We have our job and our family. We have our job and our husband. We have our job and ourself. Why are you married to two things? Something has to go. So that's why I inspire you to divorce your career. So that you can actually give the correct time to everything in your life. If I'm married, which I've been married, but I'm no longer married, but however, when I was married, I devoted a lot of time to my husband. There was an investment that I was giving there that I wouldn't be given to my job, honest and truthfully. And then, of course, somewhere along life, they almost switch spots sometimes. The job becomes more important than the spouse. And when we talk about, for me, life components, like I'm interested in every aspect of your life. So I want your marriage to thrive. I want your family life to be productive and healthy. And I want your relationship with your job to be healthy as well as the relationship with yourself. So to me, everything is a relationship. Everything. What's the relationship like with your car? You know, is it thirsty? It's waiting on oil, or is it getting gas regularly? Like, everything then can become a relationship, and it should be healthy. It should be healthy. So I don't want you to be married and so committed to your job that other areas of your life begin to fail. I heard a presentation today, and it was awesome because I understood the heart. And he said, look, I was making 6 figures a year, and then at 6 o'clock, my son, who's 12 years old, came up to me, kissed me, and he worked a lot of hours. He said, kiss me on the forehead, and he says, have a good night, Dad. And he said, well, what do you mean? It's early. He says, I'm just saying good night to you because you're going to fall asleep, I'm sure, pretty soon. And he said that was a gut punch. Because the reality is, his routine was such that he didn't have time for his children and his family because he was trying to provide. So I believe when we stay close to our skill sets, we are then empowering a career and professional development, which would allow for us then to cut out some of the time we spend there and allow us to spend more time in the other areas of our life that matter. When you're dating your spouse, it's not changing your commitment, but it's just changing the way you approach what you're committed to. So I hope you found this information valuable. I believe that inspiration should produce. You should be able to see the fruit of the words that you receive. I challenge people when they say, I listen to the radio all the time, what is being produced out of your soil? And true inspiration, you should be able to see the evidence of. You should say, okay, you know what? I heard this really inspiring word, and as a result, I went and I filled out an application to start my own business. Not just say, I want to start it, and nothing ever happens. Then you go further, of course, and you decide, well, I want to actually send the application in. The difference between motivation and inspiration is the couch. Motivation says, yes, I'm ready to go work out after these messages. Inspiration is a word that literally takes root on your inside, and it should stir up something that actually allows you to be able to move. So I do not like being referred to as a motivational speaker. Not at all, because I don't want you to stay on the couch. I don't want your families to suffer. I don't want you to continue to walk with your head down. I want you to be confident. I want you to know that you're wonderful, and every gift that you have is purpose. I want you to know that your career may be great, but are you actually maximizing and doing the greatest that you can be doing? Thank you for your time. Woo! Woo!